There are very few household problems that give you that pure, instant feeling of dread.
Oh, yeah.
Like waking up in the dead of winter, you go to the thermostat and you hear just absolute cold silence.
That silence is expensive, isn't it?
Mm.
It's that immediate gut punch where your mind just leaps straight to the worst-case scenario.
Total system replacement. Thousands of dollars.
Exactly. But that's why we're doing this deep dive. The source material we've been looking at, especially the insights from Derek Cole, it really offers a kind of panic prevention guide.
A step-by-step guide, right.
That's the whole mission here. We're laying out the simple, safe, and, completely straightforward checks that you, the homeowner, should do before making that call.
Because a huge number of service calls are for things we can fix ourselves.
The significant majority, yeah. Cole's findings show they're triggered by these easily overlooked issues. We're here to help you solve those in minutes.
Okay, but let's frame this with a really critical thought first.
Yeah.
The uncomfortable truth here is that most of these big heating breakdowns, they aren't sudden.
No, not at all. They're the result of small issues that have been building up.
For weeks, months, maybe even years. All because of, what, skipped basic maintenance.
Exactly. So while we're tackling the immediate panic, we're doing it with the mindset that, prevention is the real solution here.
All right, let's jump right into what the source material calls the ultimate rookie mistake. It's almost baffling that this is the #1 cause of no heat calls.
It is, but it is. We are, of course, starting with the thermostat.
It just seems too simple to be the leading cause.
I know. But industry veterans, they all confirm this is where they start 90% of the time.
Why, though?
Well, because the thermostat is the brain of the whole operation. And it's the one part you can actually, interact with. People bump it, they accidentally switch the mode.
I have to admit, I'm surprised it's #1, so let's be crystal clear on the checks. Check #1 is what? Just the mode.
Just the mode.
Yeah.
Ensure it is specifically set to heat.
Not cool.
Not cool, not just fan. And be precise. If you have a heat pump, you might have a confusing emergency heat setting. You just want the standard heat mode.
Okay. And check #2. This one feels like something you'd miss when you're cold and rushing.
For sure. You have to verify that the temperature you're asking for is actually higher than the current temperature in the room.
You have to give the system a reason to run.
You have to give it permission. I mean, if your house is 68 degrees and you set the thermostat to 68,
it's happy. It thinks its job is done.
it's satisfied. It's not going to kick on. You have to set it to 69 or 70 to actually initiate the heating cycle.
And then the smallest culprit of all, batteries.
Ah, yes. The cheap fix that causes massive headaches. Dead batteries in a digital thermostat don't just make the screen go dark.
It loses its mind.
It loses its ability to communicate. That thermostat needs those batteries to send the signal to the furnace to start. No batteries.
It's so simple.
No signal. So before you call anyone, just swapping in a new set of AAs is the cheapest diagnostic step you could possibly take.
That makes perfect sense. And what about smart thermostats?
Good point. Cole's advice is to be patient. After you adjust the settings or swap the battery, just give it a few moments, maybe 2 to 5 minutes.
They have internal delays, right?
They do. But if you've done all that and you still hear absolutely nothing, we have to assume the unit itself has no power.
Which takes us to the breaker panel.
So if the brains of the operation are working, but there's still nothing, we check the system's electrical pulse.
And this is for when the unit is completely silent. No hum, no fan, no sign of life at all.
Right. We're heading to the breaker panel to look for a tripped breaker.
Okay, this can be a bit daunting for some people.
Yeah.
You need to find the panel and look for the breaker that's labeled what? Furnace? HVAC.
Furnace, air handler, HVAC, something like that. In older homes, the labels might be unreadable.
So what do you look for then?
You look for the one that's visually out of alignment. A tripped breaker isn't fully on or off. It usually sits in the middle.
And the key here is understanding why it tripped in the first place.
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
The breaker is a safety device. It's protecting your expensive equipment, the motor, the wiring, from too much current.
From a short circuit or an overload.
Exactly. So you find it, it's trip. What's the non-negotiable rule here? Because this is where people can make things much, much worse.
Right.
You reset it once.
Just once.
Once. Resetting it once is a valid troubleshooting step.
Yeah.
Sometimes a brief power surge can cause a nuisance trip. This gives it a clean start.
But if it trips again,
that is your hard stop.
your DIY diagnosis is over.
It's over. If you reset it and it immediately trips again, or even 5 minutes later, you stop. The source material is very explicit on this. Continuously resetting it is just. It's electrical negligence.
And why is it so dangerous?
Because you're fighting the safety mechanism. You're forcing power into a system that has a serious electrical fault. You risk burning out an expensive motor.
Or worse.
Or worse, an electrical fire.
Yeah.
That breaker is screaming a warning at you. Listen to it. Call an expert.
Okay, let's say the breaker is fine. The thermostat is calling for heat. Maybe the fan is even running, but the air coming out is cool. Or the system short cycles.
Runs for a minute, then shuts off.
Right. This brings us to the third check, and maybe the most vital one for prevention. The air filter.
This is the perfect example of that uncomfortable truth we mentioned. The air filter is the cheapest part of your entire system.
But ignoring it can cause the most damage.
It can dictate the longevity and the safety of the entire unit.
We all think the filter is just for dust for our lungs, but its main job for the system is something else, right?
Its primary role is to supply the unit with enough unobstructed airflow. Your furnace needs a massive volume of air passing through it to work safely.
And when that filter gets clogged with dirt and pet hair?
The airflow drops. It chokes the system.
And what happens when the unit can't breathe?
It overheats. It's a safety issue. On a gas furnace, the heat exchanger gets dangerously hot because there's not enough air moving past it to carry the heat away.
And the system is smart enough to know this is a problem.
It's designed to. It recognizes this danger, and it shuts itself off to prevent a fire or, catastrophic damage to that heat exchanger.
So there's a specific part that does this. The source material called it the high limit switch.
Exactly. The high limit switch is like an internal bodyguard. It detects that the temperature inside the unit is way too high, usually because of that dirty filter, and it instantly cuts power to the burner.
So it's a life-saving feature that's being tripped by my dirty filter.
Yes. And by simply replacing a clogged filter, you restore the airflow, the unit cools down, and that safety switch often just resets itself.
And the heat comes back on.
And the heat comes back on.
Yeah.
A $15 filter just solved what felt like a massive mechanical failure.
Which makes the maintenance habit so critical. How often should we be checking?
You need to get into the monthly check habit. Hold it up to a light. If you can't see the light through it, it's time to change it.
So check monthly and probably replace it every 1 to 3 months.
Depending on your home, your pets, the season, yeah. Make it a non-negotiable monthly ritual.
So we've covered the 3 safe, simple homeowner checks. The thermostat is set correctly. It has fresh batteries. The breaker is stable. The filter is clean. But the system still isn't heating. This is that critical point Derek Cole emphasizes, the hard stop, the line where the DIY ends.
The line is drawn right there. You've done the easy, safe diagnostics. If it's still not working, you stop. You call a professional.
So we've checked all the surface level stuff. What kind of problems are we looking at now that require, specialized tools and training?
Now you're getting into the complex territory. It could be a faulty motor capacitor, a bad flame sensor.
That's the part that makes sure the gas is actually lighting.
Correct. Or an internal electrical short that's not big enough to trip the main breaker, but is still damaging components.
And trying to fix a sensitive part, like a flame sensor as a novice, that just sounds like a recipe for a much bigger bill.
Absolutely. A pro has the meters and the knowledge to safely test high-voltage parts and figure out exactly which internal safety switch is tripped.
Waiting or experimenting is just going to make things worse.
Especially when you're dealing with gas lines or high-voltage wiring. It's dangerous and, frankly, financially irresponsible.
Which brings us all the way back to that uncomfortable truth. The system was probably trying to tell you something was wrong for months.
Precisely. Small issues like a dirty flame sensor or a worn-down component, they degrade over time. They don't just fail overnight.
And that's where annual maintenance comes in.
It's the ultimate insurance policy. I mean, your heating system is one of the most expensive appliances in your home. An annual checkup catches these small issues before they become a midwinter nightmare.
It saves you money, stress, and a whole lot of discomfort.
It really does.
Yeah.
So to synthesize this for everyone listening, when the heat fails, stick to that safe, simple sequence. First, the thermostat. Check the mode, check the batteries.
Second, the breaker.
Check the breaker panel, and remember that hard stop. Reset it once. If it trips again, you're done.
And third, the air filter.
Check it monthly. It is the cheapest and easiest way to prevent a system shutdown from that high-limit safety switch.
And always, always know your boundary line for DIY. Don't go poking around if those 3 steps don't solve it.
Exactly.
Okay, so building on that idea of prevention, let's leave you with a final thought. Consider the mental cost of waking up to that cold house, that dread, versus the actual cost of prevention.
Right. How much stress and, potential damage could be avoided just by adopting that simple monthly filter check. It's the cheapest thing you can do for one of the most expensive things you own.